Welcome to the class, everybody. I'm Dr. Asatar Bear, my co-teacher here, Leah Schaefer, who's going to start us off
Hello.
with a little joke.
All right. So tonight's topic is cultivating calm amidst chaos. And I'm just very deeply connected or like committed to this class. And so to make sure that I really had like stressful, chaotic energy in my system today, I decided to insert my taxes. And if anybody knows me well enough to know like what that looks like, it is complete chaos. Uh,
You had
I
to add
very,
extra chaos in order to be
I,
relatable to the
I
topic.
wanted to really have the stress in my system for the class, so I was not lying about which techniques we use.
People, that's the kind of commitment that we bring to this program every week.
Yeah.
We we don't want to be just theorizing here. We want real stuff that really works for us, you know?
Right. It's super stressed out. And if it wasn't for this class, I definitely would have just like had a drink because so up there.
Nice.
Oh,
Well, it is
this
such a
class saves me.
chaotic time. I mean, maybe every time feels like that, but
Mm-mm.
I think, the way
No.
that the geopolitical situation is going, and, we're still coming out of dealing with COVID, and,
Yeah.
is that going on? Is that ending? What is going on there? I mean, all of the uncertainty around just so
Hmm.
many things, and what is going on with the economy and the rising
Yeah.
prices, and I mean, you name it, right?
Like
It's like it goes,
gas prices alone and housing
yeah.
prices and if you're not like if your heart hasn't started like pumping a little bit with stress with all of these mentions, the war. So it's just like, there's a lot going on right now in all sincerity.
Very true.
Mhm.
And so we're like, well, what do we, how does meditation help with that, right? Like, I mean, that's always our question, like, we're into meditation, obviously, right? Like we do this stuff. We would probably do this stuff even if it had no practical application. But like, our question is always, how does it actually help you, right? Like, how does it help us,
Mhm.
right? What kind of effects does it have on us? That's the
Yeah.
people that we know the best, right? and
Hmm.
and then, how can we share that, right? How can we inspire or motivate you to actually practice? Because that's where the benefits really lie in terms of meditation, right? It lies in
Hmm.
committing yourself to practice. And nobody is just good at meditation without practicing it, right? You get good at it just like any skill. um,
Yeah,
so
exactly. It's something you get good at with any skill. Um, yeah.
we thought
What were
what
you
we
gonna?
do this class is do some short meditations, um, you know give you some basic techniques that you can take with you. We always try to create a vibe here, that carries you through, or that helps you to meditate, right? Because that's one thing that happens. That's one reason why we do a class, is because
Yeah.
it's easier to meditate together,
Well, and
because there's that shared vibe.
especially when you are experiencing any level of chaos, that's the time when it's the hardest to meditate. It's the hardest to breathe, even breathe. Um,
Right.
think about like every time you get super stressed, it feels like you can't breathe. Like that's even one of like these expressions, right? And so we're going to work on like breaking into that. And the nice thing about Asatar and I having like decade, just extreme amounts of meditation experience is that the meditation practices we share with you are the most efficient and effective for the topics that we bring. So that's what we hope to bring for you. Um,
Yeah. We never would
yeah.
share anything with you guys that we haven't done extensively ourselves and seen
Hmm.
benefit from, right? So
Right.
it's not theoretical in that sense, right? Of course, we don't know how it's going to work for you, right? I mean, that's the question,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
you,
Yeah.
like with any technique, you need to take it and, try it out, right? And
Yeah.
even go into it with a certain intention, like, I'm going to really explore this, right? Like, it's like with anything, you dive in with both, the whole thing, right? You
Yeah.
don't dip a toe in and say, I don't know, right? I mean, like, you know, or let's say you'll get a smaller result if you do it that way, right? Um,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that leads us right into our first practice. As
yeah,
Asatar was saying, we're gonna go meditation heavy today. We like to have a good time on this show, and sometimes we get really wrapped up in the topics. But today we're going to try to really practice with you, so as much as we can in this hour. So go ahead and just find your seat. If your system is on the overload, if you are in a hypervigilant state, if you are completely stuck in your head right now, you are not alone, first and foremost. There's a lot of stress on a lot of us right now, and I just want you to know, like, we're in this together. Um, if you cannot sit right now because you are too overwhelmed, you can definitely do this practice walking. You can also do it laying down, but if you can sit, go ahead and sit. And then if closing your eyes is not too overwhelming, close your eyes. So, when we get into this kind of mode of fight or flight, when we get into there's just like too much chaos, too much overwhelm, then our energy, like we literally get like cortisol and adrenaline running through, pumping through our system, released, pumping through our system, telling us we need to act, telling us we need to do something, such as run or in my case, I often freeze, which I don't know how that's helpful to me. But in any case, what we want to do is we have to really work to meet that. When these things are going on, hypervigilance, can't get out of our head, systems on overdrive, okay? So that is a ton of energy, like basically telling your body you need to do something, but sometimes there's really nothing you can do. And secondly, sometimes you can't meet what you need to meet with all of the stress running through your system. So this first practice we're going to do is going to be pretty vigorous, okay? Um, the reason why, or one reason why at least, exercising can be really helpful for stress is because you are invigorating your breath and you're really meeting the stress. And so I want to teach you today how to do that without exercise, because you might be in like a business meeting or in a family circumstance where you don't have time to exercise. And you can do these exercises with your breath without your eyes closed. So things like the shit can be hitting the fan and you can still do this. You always have control over your breath. So with that said, we're going to work on our full breathing and really meeting the stress. As you close your eyes, just start to deepen your breath and notice how your body is able to even breathe fully right now. Is it constricted? Just noticing that, not judging it. But like, how much breath will your body actually let in today? And then again, as you exhale, how much can you actually exhale fully, completely? You might find if you're in a state of overwhelm that you lose your train of thought on breathing fully in, on breathing fully out before you even finish one of them. And that's okay. You just bring yourself right back to this exercise. And so, to help you breathe more fully, I want you to, if you feel comfortable with it, obviously you're in your own home, placing your hands on your low abdomen and really feeling, as you inhale, feeling your low belly press into your hands. And then as you exhale, your abdomen will naturally kind of relax But then at the end of your exhalation, squeeze your abdomen in toward your spine, and it's like you're squeezing all that breath out. It's almost like you're getting all the steam that's in your system out with that exhalation, really reaching every itty bitty bit of breath out. And then again, breathing into your hands and your low abdomen. Now, as you breathe this way, the more stress that you have, the more breath I want you to have. Now, this is where it gets tricky because you can have a tremendous amount of breath if it's slow and rhythmic and deep. Those are the requirements for the big, full breath. Slow, rhythmic, deep. If you start breathing shallow in your upper torso, near your collarbones, you're going to hyperventilate. So that's not what we want. But we do want to have really full breath to meet the stress in our body. And you can release your hands. The hands just give a nice biofeedback system of breathing lower into your abdomen, and keep that awareness. Keep breathing lower into your body. And the next time that you inhale, I want you to have the feeling like you're trying to even expand out through your intercostal muscles. Those are the muscles between your ribs. Like, so you start low in the belly. The breath is filling you up like water filling up a glass. You start low in the abdomen, low in the belly. And then as it reaches up, I want you to almost push against these walls that are closing in on you. I want you to push your breath into the rib cage, expanding the rib cage. And then at the top of your next inhalation, hold your breath in. Only hold your breath as long as it feels comfortable to you, and then exhale fully, completely again. You're going to notice that you're going to get some of that crap that's stored up inside moving. You might cough. But it's this idea that like you're meeting the intensity of what's happening in your central nervous system with the intensity of your breath, but you're doing it in a very masterful way. You're doing it in a way where you're breathing in a healthy way for your body. Deep, full, rhythmic, slow. And you're inhaling to your fullest capacity. But even though you're inhaling to your fullest capacity and feeling those intercostals, especially in the side body, feeling the intercostal muscles expanding out. And even though you're doing that, you don't want to you do not want to bring your breath way up to the collarbones. You want to keep your breath lower in your body, holding at the top of your inhalation for only as long as it's comfortable to you. And then continuing with the full exhalation, squeezing the abdomen in toward the spine, getting all of the hot air out. And then as you hold your breath and as you breathe, you can even now bring your mind, if you like to, if you need more to focus on, bring your mind on feeling your heartbeat for as much of the breath as you can. So with this exercise, don't even feel the pulse at all. Go straight for the heart, really go straight to your center. And just feeling your heartbeat inside of you. Seeing if you can catch every single heartbeat through each of the 3 parts of this breath practice. On the top of your next inhalation, challenge yourself here to hold your breath longer. Not so long that it stresses you, but so long that it grabs all of your concentration, all your attention. Focusing on feeling the heartbeat at every moment of the practice, every moment of the 3-part cycle of breath. You can almost start to feel power start building inside of you, this power of your own presence. Presence within the center of your being, no longer scattered all over the place, but present at the center of your being, the heart of you. Good, and then let go of breathing in this cycle and just place your hands over your heart and maybe even rub your heart a little bit, rub your ribs a little bit over your heart. Just getting that real sense of connection, like you are supported. There is someone here to support you, and sometimes that person is you. Most often, that person is you. But there are lots of people that do support you, and this is this nice feeling of that support and connection. And just taking one big breath with your hands on your heart with that sentiment that you are supported. And then as you're ready, moving your body and opening up your eyes.
a lot of times the simplest techniques can be very, very powerful, you know. And
Yeah.
when you're learning, you know, if all that you take away from this is just it feels good to put your hands on your heart and breathe,
Yeah.
that's good, you know, and that a lot of
Yeah.
times that'll work, you know. A simple technique that is where you put your full intention into it can be very, very powerful, right? And especially if, you know, we give a lot of instructions because, you know, that's what we do, right? We're we're into this stuff. Um, so maybe it's too much, right? Maybe it's hard to follow, and maybe it raises the question, am I doing it right? So
Mm.
you know, sometimes it's good to just go back to the basics, right? Um, and
Yeah.
release that. You don't need another thing to worry about, you know, like
Yeah, totally. And any time that we instruct any practice or technique, it's always kind of like I used to be really good at saying it as I went, but like stay here or you know keep working with this or then add in that because honestly, just working with breathing fully in and fully out, that can sometimes be a lot for your system, and so
yeah,
you take whatever works, and then if the full practice is feeling good, then you can do it on your own. The whole idea is like we give you the tools and you take what's good for you. But there's no wrong meditation.
it was very interesting for me doing that meditation because yeah, there's no right. It was very interesting for me doing that meditation because like almost immediately when I started breathing, I started feeling like a lot of like a kind of allergic reaction, you know. My throat got very, very scratchy and my nose and eyes
Really?
started running, and yeah, my breath it feels like I'm breathing in some kind of sand along with the breath or
That's
something, like
so
it's
weird.
irritating everything, you know. Yeah, so I coughed during this, right? And but I'm just so I'm sitting with this and noticing, right, that this is happening on and this is one of the things, right, like we want to cultivate an attitude of like, well, everything that happens, there's some meaning in it, right? Like, so what is that meaning? Well, maybe there is some kind of allergen, you know, that I'm responding to, or maybe it's some kind of energetic
Mhm.
thing, right? That um
Yeah.
but one of the things I'm noticing just working with it and just being with it um is that there's a way of working with your breath where you you can do too much, you know. And so like when your breath is sort of jagged, you know, like you breathe in, it doesn't have an even flow to it, which is very, very common, especially if you're
Mhm.
trying to breathe more, you know, like we're asking you to breathe more.
Yeah.
uh, it's very common to like, okay, you're trying to breathe out more, you're trying to breathe in, and the breath rushes in, right? Um, so I just found it
Mhm.
helpful just in this moment to really focus on making the breath like very even, you know, like
Mhm.
very fine and very even, you know. And this
Mhm.
is an element of breath control that can be very helpful when you have racing thoughts, when you have anxiety, you know, when you're in
Mhm.
that kind of chaotic space, you know. And the
Mhm.
Sufis talk a lot about this. You know, this is our background, right? Is Sufism, meditation focused
Yeah.
on the heart. It's a unique style of meditation. Um, and the Sufis say, you know, there are these different rhythms in life. You know, there's a slow rhythm where things are just getting started, right? There's a kind of moderate rhythm, a progressive rhythm, right? And this is where things are built, you know, where where things happen, right? And then there's a fast rhythm, you know, and the fast rhythm is very seductive because it's exciting, right? Like if you like progress, you want to go fast, right? Like
Yeah.
so. But the thing about this fast rhythm, they call it the tamasic rhythm in Sufism, right? That it can be destructive, you know, that it can get out of control. That a lot of times things speed up right before they break down, you know. And so
Mhm.
we're like we want to be wary of that rhythm. And this is oftentimes what happens, like with our thoughts and feelings, right? We
Mhm.
work ourselves into a tizzy, and a lot of
Yeah.
times the breath follows in that, right? So our
Right.
thoughts are racing, and then the
Yeah.
breath starts to get interrupted. The breath starts to get shorter. The breath starts to become more rapid. And you know, these are like this is an anxiety attack
Mhm.
or a panic attack. You know, this is what happens to your breath
Yeah.
under those conditions. Even if you're not experiencing that full blown thing, which I hope you're not, right? It can often
Right.
be quite negative, right? Because the breath then turbocharges the, chaotic thoughts and feelings, right? So to be able to
Yeah.
rhythmically breathe, right, and just hold to that, that can be a very, very powerful way of just kind of, breaking this up, and like, so I noticed this thing where I was having this intense reaction like during the meditation, and it's like, well, let me just sit with it, like, of course I'm annoyed,
Mhm.
right? Of course I'm like, here I am coughing during, like, I'm a meditation teacher, right? What the hell's this, right? Like,
You're not
and is there
human
some other
anymore.
time I could be coughing other than on my show, like, come on, right? So it's
Alas,
like
you're
I'm
still
annoyed by it,
human
but then
like the rest of us.
yes, I hate to admit it, but it's true. Yeah. So then it's like, well, what's in this for me? What is the learning here, right? There's always something we can learn, right? There's always something in the experience for us, something that we can embrace. And, you know, um, I'm just noticing that it sort of has passed, like, I mean, I still feel a little bit of it, but it's, it's interesting because a lot of things are like this, right? Like if we can, some things we have to just ride it out, we have to just endure it, and, and we want to do that in a way that, that we can, right? That builds our strength and doesn't
Mhm.
break us down.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
let's meditate some more then. Now that we've
Okay.
talked a little bit about it, um, so take your good upright posture, and let's just really work on this piece about rhythmic breathing. Leah helped us with this. It's very, very important because a lot of times our breath becomes arrhythmic. And the main thing that we're really concerned about with this rhythm, just to keep it very, very simple, is that the inhalation and the exhalation are the same length, right? So there's this sense that the breath moves in and moves out in a regular, even pattern. So work on that. You might notice that it feels quite natural to do this. Our body wants to have a good, even rhythm. So you start by just observing, well, what is your breath doing? What is your breath doing when you don't try to do anything to it? You're just sitting in your meditation posture, you're sitting upright, and you're just noticing, how am I breathing? Breathing in, I am receiving energy, I'm receiving life, receiving breath, receiving spirit, receiving vitality. And breathing out, I am radiating, I am expressing, I am speaking my unique energy, my unique energetic signature into the world. I'm broadcasting my vibration. And then what happens, you can learn so much from just studying your breath, right? And of course, it's a kind of a moving target, right? Because your attention might not be there all the time, right? You might forget about your breath. You become captivated with some thought or some feeling or some image. And then you return to it and you say, what is my breath doing now? And of course, the longer that you sit, the more your system settles down, the more you become used to this period of sitting still. And the more your breathing changes and relaxes. When you first sit down, you're probably bringing with you that rushing around energy of being in the world. But when you sit in the silence, when you sit with your eyes closed, when you focus on your breath, you're turning your focus within. And this changes things. because your energy is not as taken up without the outer world. You're not having to make decisions every second. You're not having to, weigh these different options. You're not having to perceive things and react to them and all of this, right? All of that takes energy. Instead, you are focusing your energy within. Breathing in, breathing out. Nice, even, smooth rhythm. You might notice that your breath longs to be even, longs to be rhythmic. It feels natural to do it. But now, what if we start to intervene in the breath and say, let's breathe out a little bit more. Let's extend the exhalation. Why? Well, because we give more to the world. We have a lot to say. We have a lot to express, right? Think of the time when you have some news you long to share with somebody, right? You long to express that experience, that energy, whatever it is. And of course, we long to receive as well. So let's just have a little more of that through the breath. Extend your exhalation just a bit more and extend your inhalation. And now you're not just breathing however you want to breathe, right? You're intervening. You're breathing more. And then it becomes very easy to see if you've lost your focus, because if you've lost your focus, your breath will return to your usual, normal, unconscious kind of pattern. What if you start to control the breath? Now, you might notice that this helps you to become conscious of it, right? In the same way that if you have a challenge, the challenge keeps you focused, right? So if you just stand on the ground, that's not much of a challenge, right? Well, try standing and balancing on something. Okay, well then you'll see, right? That's a lot more difficult, that it makes you focus very intently on just keeping your balance, right? So a similar thing happens when you extend your exhalation and then extend your inhalation. You're breathing differently. Your breath now takes longer. So we still want it to be rhythmic, but we want the breath now to be slower. It takes longer per breath. Now, breath is one of the most fundamental rhythms that we have. The breath gives us an unconscious sense of time passing. By slowing down the breath, we slow down our internal clock because we're taking fewer breaths per minute. That's interesting, right? That shifts our rhythm. If our rhythm has gotten too rapid, too chaotic, slowing down the breath is an incredibly powerful way to slow down your inner self. Slow down the pace of your thoughts and feelings by slowing down your breath. Feel your breath flowing like a river. Inhalation, exhalation. It's like swinging on a swing. That too has a rhythm. You swing the breath in and you swing the breath out. Now, of course, we would love to go further. We would love to connect the breath to the heartbeat. We would love to connect the breath to the energy of the heart, to that well of feeling, that place where your love resides, that place which represents your highest aspiration. All that matters the most to you is held within your heart. And what if you think of that while you're breathing? What if the energy of your breath goes into energizing your heart? So if you can, and you feel the beats of your heart, and you count these beats, helping you focus on your heart and also on your breath at the same time. Creating a very powerful rhythm. Now you can choose what rhythm works for you. I had a question recently on one of the videos that said, if I can only breathe in for 4 beats and breathe out for 4 beats, is that okay? Is that normal? Yes, whatever works for you, that's where you're starting, right? I can tell you that as you practice, things change. And so when I say, we'll see if you can get to 8 beats in, 8 beats out, that's a kind of reflection of that. I honestly am not in the best position to evaluate how someone is doing when they first start this, because that's not my experience, right? I've been doing this for a long time. But I can say you start where you are, and wherever that is, that's a good place to start, right? So if it's 4, then 4 is a good number. Any number is a good number, right? You just work on it. Feel your breath, feel your heartbeat. Now, perhaps you can't feel your heartbeat. That's okay. You just imagine it. You just think, what might it be, right? You just count to yourself. Perfectly fine. Your count is probably pretty close because, even if you don't feel it, your heart is still beating. Thank God, right? You don't have to feel it for your heart to be beating. Your heart is beating anyway. Even if you're not aware of it, on some level, it is still beating. Now, I hope you feel that just the vibe that we've created just through this very simple practice is very strong. It's something that we've done here together. All right, and when you're ready, then you can open up your eyes and move your body and so on.
I feel very calm. Thank you. Uh, just to give like the opposite side of the experience of the first practice we did, because I was doing that holding practice with my breath that first time, the more like vigorous breath, not worry, it's more breath work, it's not so much like worrying about your state as it is meeting the stress in your body. But because I was able to do that today, and because my body was responding well to it, when I went into Asatar's meditation, it was like so much easier. It was just like the way that my breath moved was like so much easier. I didn't have to fight anymore. And so like
Right.
starting off when you're in a state of stress, starting off with something more vigorous, can help you get like kind of meet that stress, but then you can go into more like that gentle as an option. Of course, like you very much depends on you, depends on the day, but just as an option, like that you don't have to like exclusively do one, and it can really help you that vigorous. The same thing with exercise, or doing like a vigorous yoga practice or doing your form of exercise. Like you're gonna end up setting yourself up for an easier meditation practice, so you can kind of sink right in.
Right.
So thank you, Asatar.
That's a really
Yeah.
good point. What Leah said, when you work your breath, right? Like and holding practices are there. That's an exercise, right? That works your breath. Um, this extends your capacity. This makes to just maintain that even breath. Your breathing mechanism is one of these things. It's like you can constantly tune it up. It's an instrument that we're tuning, right? And it's a very good reminder to us to just start with something, start with an exercise. A lot of times you see these in yoga class, right? A yoga class, they do these exercises. The breath makes noise, right? You have a whole set of different exercises like this, right? That's the
Yeah.
same purpose, right? To tune up the breath, and then to be able to then, when your breath becomes very smooth and refined and silent, you have more capacity there. Um, so
Yeah. And if
definitely.
you just can't, like, and if you just cannot sit, then do something that does move and invigorate your breath. It could even just be walking. It can be singing, of all things, because
Right.
singing takes a lot of breath, right?
It does.
And so, or of course, my favorites are walking and yoga, but I'm sure there's lots of other ones. You can throw a tire around like Asatar does. But,
Throw a
yeah,
tire
lots of
around. Now you're speaking my language.
yeah, whatever you like, whatever gets that heartbeat of that breath moving. And then that should help a bit. But that's also what I like about this is what I wanted to make sure to say is like we're not trying to say to spiritually bypass. We're not trying to say like there should be no chaos, there should be no stress. We're not saying that at all. Like what we're saying is we want you to be equipped to meet the chaos, to meet the stress in your life, because we want you to overcome your obstacles and be able to remember yourself as you do. So
Yeah.
that's more what it's like. It's like we want you to have the tools to meet all that you have to meet in your life. So yeah.
Absolutely. When you do things and you're out there, you're going to be stressed. I mean, like
Mhm.
I will freely admit that I get stressed. You guys, come on. Like, I mean, when you try to do things, stress is a part of it. That is absolutely the case, right? Um, I like to present a very calm image, right? But like, that does not mean that I don't experience stress, and that's not true at all, right? I mean, like, what we can do is have good ways of dealing with it, right? Um,
Yeah.
and we can have good awareness around it, like, oh my God, I'm feeling unbelievably stressed right now, like, and
Yeah.
do I have a way of working with that? Do I have a way of moving that through? And
Yeah,
let me also just be
exactly.
honest, right? There are periods of high stress in your life where you're going to feel like you're barely holding on. I mean, like I'm in one of
Yeah.
those right now. I'll be honest, right? Like
Oh.
it's it's very difficult. So I'm.
Well, thanks for coming to our show.
Thank you so much. I'm learning a lot.
During
I really
during
need this
your
show, you
time.
guys. That's why I'm here.
Oh, God. Me too. Mm.
I hope I didn't reveal too much. You guys are putting me on a pedestal or whatever.
No.
That's
No, but I think it's really helpful, like I have, and I also have my coping mechanism. Like it's helpful for people to hear this because I mean, I think I've been anything but perfect on this show, but like, people do like project these things on like the meditation teacher,
right.
and it's just like, no, like I have unhealthy coping mechanisms, like binge watching Netflix, woo. I don't need to do my taxes. Let's watch the next episode, You know, so just I'm obviously like placating toward like a super simple one, but it's, you know, I like there's tendencies I have to watch in myself for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like to you want to have something you can replace those with. What about? Aw. Keeping up the persona.
Nice to see you, Valley Vox Theater. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you, Valley.
Um,
I don't know your real name.
See, we
Uh,
we're so charming and good looking as people
oh
that
my God.
naturally then people think we don't have problems, but
The
that's not true.
shame. Oh my God.
Not true.
For some reason, that felt like public shaming. I. Okay. All right. Let's enough about us. Let's
Enough
meditate
about us. This
again.
show's not about us. Yeah.
No. Jesus. Should we meditate again?
Let's do it.
Uh,
Absolutely.
okay. Let's meditate again. I'm like overeating. Goodness. Okay. So all those fans out there. All right. Okay, my darlings. So move your body, stretch a bit. You've already practiced a bit. Now stretch. I like to do cat-cow while I'm seated. And just really get into the spine. I hold so much tension in my neck. Do a little neck stretch. Really just want to give you like little tools that make a huge difference. And then deep breath as you stretch. Simple, simple things. And coming back to your center, and then as you're ready, coming into your seat. Next practice for you is the water breath. Water breath is like classic my ass down practice. So, water breath, the technique itself is in through your nose and out through your mouth. Okay, so you think about it like, you know, that moment when something happens that allows you to relax a little bit and you have that sigh, this. And so you can even do, if you like to, making a nice sigh on your next exhalation if you like. That sigh is kind of the indicator that our body, our central system is starting to relax. Our parasympathetic nervous system is starting to come back on board. And so for these first kind of breaths, like we're so structured, and that's just because, like I was saying, we are really trying to get you to breathe in a way to learn these techniques that optimize your breathing, right? Are unhealthy ways of breathing, believe it or not. And so, but for these first few breaths, instead of being real technical, I want to encourage you to do the water breath however you want to. So that's in the nose, inhaling through your nose, and exhaling out of your mouth. And you can just feel that sensation of the decompression moment with the sigh as you exhale. Good, and now bring it more formally into the technique of trying to make your breath rhythmic. We're connecting with our heartbeat throughout class. Another way to connect with your heartbeat is, if you like to, you can place one of your hands on your heart. See if you can feel your heartbeat like that, continuing to breathe in your nose, out your mouth. And then maybe placing, if you still can't feel connect with your heartbeat, you can also do pulse point. Really want you to feel that heartbeat through the whole cycle of your breath tonight. So one option is to place one hand over your heart and then the other hand around your wrist in order to feel if you cannot feel your heartbeat already. And then just for a little while intuit the rhythm. So don't count, no numbers right now. Intuit the rhythm of inhaling and exhaling to the same of heartbeats, the same rhythm of heartbeats in, out. Imagining your breath as a source of nutrients, a source of soul food for you. This everlasting life just breathing in and out of you in this moment of time. And at the same time, with this water breath, you can also get a real sense that your breath is also washing that stress away, almost like like flushing it out with every breath that you take, melting any tension in your body, melting the tension in your muscles, in your brow, in your jaw, and in your heart. And then placing, so stay here or begin to place the word Shanti onto your heartbeat. Shanti is a Sanskrit word which means peace. So you're still breathing full rhythmic breath, inhaling into your nose and exhaling out of your mouth. Feeling your heartbeat as you breathe and maybe placing the word Shanti or another word that has a double beat that means something really peaceful or centering to you. And almost feel as if the resonance of every heartbeat that you have, as if the resonance is just the resonance between that actual vibration of the word and the resonance of your heartbeat itself are interlacing with each other. Feel it to a refined degree. As if the very fibers of your heart are soaking in the vibration of the word you've placed onto it. all the things like the people that you love or the people you identify with that we witness through the transparency that's happening with all the videos that come out, right? So much transparency now. And the things we witness and our heart hurts from them. You can just really bring this energy of Shanti into the part of your heart where you feel that connection. You feel the connection to your human family members. To your brothers and sisters of all different races, all different beliefs. We're all connected in our hearts. And you can breathe this energy of Shanti right into the part of your heart that is affected. Either by your own obstacles or by the obstacles that are latent. All right, and then as you're ready, moving your body and opening up your eyes.
You guys don't get much of a break because we have one more meditation to share with you. So we're going to go
You
right
too.
into it.
Sorry I didn't give you more time. Okay.
That's okay. We don't need a whole lot of time because we've prepared ourselves to be here. All right. So as you breathe into your heart and out from your heart, keep doing all of the things that Leah told you to do. Keep your breath rhythmic and deep and slow. But now I want you to focus on the exhalation. A lot of times when we feel, we just get caught up and we feel that everything is so chaotic, things are so difficult, it's like all of these energies are coming and jarring us and disturbing us, and it puts us into a kind of passive place, a reactive place, and what do we do? It's not clear, right? So I just want to remind you that your heart is like a sun. Your heart is as powerful as that shining sun. And you have just as much ability to shine your light on the world and on other people, on situations, on yourself, on your own life. So feel the energy of your heart and project it outwards, radiate it outwards in all directions, and even radiate it inwards to yourself as well. That beautiful shining light that comes from your heart. And just consider, give more light. Shine your light even more brightly, even more beautifully. Light and love. This is the nature of your heart. And the world can always use more of that. So it's a challenge to now turn up the intensity. Remember that your being and your heart are unlimited, eternal, infinite, perfect. That is your nature. When you make your breath deep and full and rhythmic, when you shine that light from your heart, you're giving yourself that much more power to be in the awareness of that light that is actually shining from you all the time. But when you tune into it, when you're aware of it, when you really send it with your breath on the exhalation, well, it kicks things up a gear, doesn't it? Consider that when you feel stressed, when you feel that chaos, oh, what is going on in the world, this is a call to you. The world needs you. You have more of an influence than you know. We think about things in such black and white terms, right? Like, oh, I have power over this, I don't have power over that. Well, look, there's not a lot that we have power over, but there's a lot that we have influence over. Because our influence goes much, much further than we know. Because that is energetic, and our energy is unlimited. Breathe in and vitalize your heart, energize your heart. Breathe out and shine the light of your heart. With each breath, we're making ourselves more ourselves, and we're making the world a little bit more filled with love and light. Thank you for doing that with me today. Namaste.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll be
We're all
back
in this
next
together.
week. Hopefully, you have found some calm in a time of chaos.
Yeah.
God bless you all, my friends. Take care. Till next time.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Happy meditating.